Do you think Tracy Barlow is just making another romantic mistake? Or has she finally let a monster into her home who's going to destroy everything she's built? Look, I know what you're thinking. Tracy is usually the one doing the manipulating. She's the one who killed Charlie Stubbs in cold blood after all. But something about this new guy, Ross Wilkes, feels totally different. And let me tell you, the spoilers coming out for July 2026 are honestly skin-crawling. We've just had confirmation that this man, who the headlines are calling a vulgar sex offender, is officially moving in on Tracy. But it's not just about a bad romance. It's about why nobody in Weatherfield can see what's happening right under their noses. Are you as worried as I am? Or do you think Tracy can handle herself? Well, let's think about how we got here. Ross didn't just wander onto the cobbles. He showed up as Tyrone's long-lost dad. That's the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card in a place like Weatherfield. People want to believe in family. They want that happy ending for Tyrone. But the reality is way darker. Ross is actually a predator who has been hiding in plain sight. And the crazy thing is, the one person who knows the truth is being treated like a villain. I'm talking about Cassie Plummer. She realized Ross was the man who exploited her when she was just a teenager. Can you imagine that? Your abuser shows up, pretends to be your son's hero, and then starts blackmailing you. It's a literal nightmare. The funny thing is, while we're all screaming at the TV, the characters are just falling for it. Spoilers confirm that Ross has now spent the night at #1 with Tracy. This isn't just a quick hookup. It's a strategic move. Ross is planting himself in the most famous house on the street. Why did Tracy let this happen? Honestly, if you look at her history, it makes sense. Tracy has always defined herself by her power over bad lads. She thinks she's the smartest person in the room. She probably thinks she's the one playing him. But Ross isn't like the guys she's dealt with before. He isn't loud or aggressive like Charlie Stubbs. He's subtle. He's grooming the whole community, not just Tracy, that I've been thinking a lot about the psychology behind this. Why is Tyrone so blinded? Well, he's spent his whole life wanting a proper family. He's so desperate for a father figure that he's willing to ignore his own mother's visceral terror. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? Every time Cassie tries to warn people, Ross just flips the script. He makes her look like a jealous, lying addict. And it's working. Tyrone actually gives Cassie her marching orders next week because he thinks she's interfering. Think about that. A son kicking his mother out to protect a man he barely knows, just because that man says he's family. Does that make Tyrone an idiot, or just a victim of a really talented sociopath? Now, let's talk about the specific scenes we're going to see from July 13th to 17th. There's this moment where Ross is spotted carrying flowers into the bistro. Now, in a normal relationship, that's sweet, right? But with Ross, everything is a tactic. When Tracy sees the flowers, she doesn't think, this guy is a predator. She thinks, is he seeing another woman? See what he did there? He shifted the focus from his criminal history to some silly relationship drama. He clears up the misunderstanding, and suddenly, he's the romantic hero again. It's a masterclass in gaslighting. My opinion? Tracy is so busy trying to win a game of romance that she doesn't realize she's already lost her safety. It gets even messier when you look at what's happening with Sarah Platt. I honestly think the writers are doing something brilliant here. They're showing us two very different kinds of secrets. Sarah is literally racked with guilt because she killed Theo Silverton. She's about to confess because she can't build a marriage with Kid on a lie. But then you have Ross. Ross has zero guilt. He's walking around the cobbles, playing golf with Tyrone, and acting like a saint while he's actually a sex offender. It's such a sharp contrast. Sarah is a good person who did a bad thing and is suffering for it. Ross is a bad person who is doing good things to hide who he really is. Which one do you think is more dangerous to the street? The emotional weight for Cassie right now must be unbearable. She's trapped in this blackmail plot. Ross is threatening to tell everyone about her past behavior if she doesn't help him win Tyrone over. It's a total trap. If she tells the truth, she has to relive her trauma. If she stays silent, she watches her son get closer to a monster. And the worst part? She was only 15 when she was exploited. Ross was an adult who paid to sleep with a child. The fact that he's now moving in on Tracy, who has a daughter of her own, Amy, makes my skin crawl. Do you think Ken Barlow is going to let this stand once he finds out? Or has Tracy finally pushed her family too far? I'm really worried about the explosive exit they've confirmed for Cassie. Spoilers say her time on the street is coming to an end this summer, but they're calling it a great exit storyline. To me, that sounds like a final, desperate attempt to expose Ross. Maybe she realizes that the only way to save Tyrone is to blow her own life up. If she has to admit everything to Steve and Tyrone just to show them who Ross really is, will they even believe her? Or is Ross so deep in their heads that they'll just think she's having a breakdown? It's a tragic situation where the victim has to stay perfect just to be heard, while the predator only has to stay charming. And let's not forget the chaos happening elsewhere that's distracting everyone. Betsy Swain has a frightening collapse next week. It's actually a stroke. This is every parent's worst nightmare, and Lisa Swain is absolutely falling apart. But because Lisa is a cop, her first instinct is to find someone to blame. She goes after Dylan. She's reporting crimes and making arrests. But while the police are busy arguing over whether Dylan or Brody caused Betsy's collapse, Ross is quietly slipping into the Barlow house. It's the perfect cover. The community is so focused on the teen drama and the murder investigation that they're ignoring the living, breathing threat right next door. I've got a theory about Kit, too. He's supposed to be the hero who loves Sarah, right? But he's pursuing this secret agenda with Gary's phone. He wants everything recovered from that device sent to his personal email. Analysis suggests he might not be the perfect guy Sarah thinks he is. He's already being called a potential dodgy cop. But here's the thing, maybe his obsession with finding proof will be what actually catches Ross. If Kit is digging into everyone's secrets, surely he's going to stumble onto Ross's history. It would be a classic soap twist if the bad cop is the only one who takes down the real villain. What do you think? Is Kit going to be Weatherfield's savior or just another man with a dark side? Looking at Tracy's psychology, she's always been addicted to the thrill of a dangerous man. She definitions her freedom by how far she can stray from the boring Barlow brand. In her mind, she isn't being moved in on. She's the one who chose Ross. But Ross is using her ego against her. He knows that if he acts like he wants to cool things off to concentrate on Tyrone, Tracy will just chase him harder. It's a classic grooming tactic. He's making himself the prize. It's honestly devastating to watch a character as strong as Tracy become a pawn in a predator's game. Do you think she's lost her edge? Or is she just lonely? The situation with Tyrone is just as complicated. He's trying to build a relationship with a father he never knew. Imagine the pressure of that. You want to believe this guy is a good man because if he's a monster, then what does that say about you? It's that fear of bad blood. Tyrone is choosing the lie because the truth is too painful to handle. He's even siding with Ross against his own mother. I think that's the real tragedy here. Ross hasn't just invaded the street, he's invaded the most basic human bonds. He's turned a son against his mother and a mother against her instincts. And then there's the vulgar aspect of it all. Why that word? Well, think about Ross's first night in town. He made a pass at Cassie at the hotel without even realizing she was the mother of his son. That's the definition of vulgarity, a total lack of moral boundaries. He sees women as things to be used. And yet, Tracy Barlow, the woman who once claimed she could have any man she wanted, is the one inviting him into her bed. It's a complete reversal of her usual power dynamic. She thinks she's the cat, but in this storyline, she's definitely the mouse. So, what happens next? My prediction is that Cassie's exit is going to be the explosive moment when the truth finally comes out. But I don't think it's going to be a happy ending. I think the damage to the Barlow and Dobbs families is already done. Even if Ross is arrested, Tyrone has to live with the fact that he kicked his mom out for a sex offender. Tracy has to live with the fact that her ego almost cost her everything. And the street? Well, the street will just be left with more guilt and shame. It's a dark road ahead, but I want to know what you think. The psychology of shame is really driving Sarah right now. She feels like the worst person in the world. Even when Kit proposes, which should be a perfect moment, she can't enjoy it because of her guilt. This is such a fascinating parallel to Ross. Sarah is destroying her own happiness because she has a conscience. Ross is building his own happiness by destroying others because he doesn't have one. It's a battle between a woman who can't live with a secret and a man who lives for them. My opinion? Sarah's confession is going to trigger a chain reaction that exposes everyone, including Ross. And let's talk about the Barlow factor. Tracy is a legacy character. She's Ray Langton and Deirdre's daughter. She's been on our screens since 1977. We've seen her grow from a glum-faced teenager into a man-eater and a killer. But she's always had her family to fall back on. Ken has forgiven her for everything: murder, lying about miscarriages, you name it. But bringing a sex offender into the family home? That feels like a bridge too far, even for Ken. If Amy is put at risk because of Tracy's ego, I think we might see the final end of the Barlow family as we know it. Is Tracy finally going to be truly alone? The spoilers for next week say that questions are raised about what caused Betsy's collapse. To me, that's a huge hint. If it wasn't Dylan and it wasn't some random medical fluke who was around, was Ross involved? We know he's vulgar and has a sinister plan. Predators like him don't just stop at one victim. If he saw Betsy as a threat, maybe she saw him somewhere he shouldn't have been. Would he go that far? It sounds crazy, but this is Coronation Street in 2026. Anything is possible. Do you think Betsy knows something she hasn't told us yet? And what about Steve? Poor Steve McDonald. He's been married to Tracy twice. He's seen her at her best and her absolute worst. Now he's watching her hook up with the man who is blackmailing his current, whatever Cassie is to him. The pressure is affecting her relationship with Steve, the spoilers say. Steve has a history of making bad choices in women, but he's usually a good guy at heart. If he finds out that he's been welcoming a predator into his orbit while his daughter Amy is around, the fallout is going to be nuclear. I honestly think this storyline might be the one that finally breaks Steve for good. I'm also keeping an eye on the explosive allegation Dylan makes about Brody. Why would Dylan point the finger there? Is he just desperate to get the heat off himself? Or is Brody actually involved in something dark? There's a lot of talk about rumors spreading faster than facts on the street right now. It's like the whole community is suffering from a collective breakdown in trust. Whether it's money, murder, or sex offenders, nobody knows who to believe. And that's exactly the kind of environment where a guy like Ross Wilkes thrives. He's the calm center of a very messy storm. So, here's my big question for you. If you were Cassie, would you have told Tyrone the truth the second Ross showed up? Or would you have been too scared of the blackmail? It's easy to judge from the sofa, but when your abuser is standing in your kitchen pretending to be your son's dad, the truth is a terrifying thing to weaponize. I think Cassie is the most tragic character we've seen in years, and I'm genuinely gutted that she's leaving. I just hope she takes Ross down with her. Don't forget that Sarah's confession changes everything. Once the police know Gary wasn't the killer, the whole investigation resets. That means everyone is a suspect again. And while they're re-interviewing people, they're going to be looking a lot closer at everyone's history. Ross's mask is perfect, but masks eventually slip. The question is, who will be the one to pull it off? Will it be Tracy in a moment of clarity? Will it be Cassie in a final act of revenge? Or will it be Kit, the man who risks everything for a woman who just admitted she's a killer? This storyline is a total pressure cooker. We've got the July 13th to 17th episodes coming up, and honestly, I don't think I've ever been this nervous for the residents of Number 1. The sinister plan Ross has is starting to unfold, and Tracy is right in the middle of it. If you're as hooked on this as I am, you need to stay tuned. This isn't just a soap story, it's a masterclass in tension. What are you most looking forward to seeing next week? The Sarah/Kit proposal fallout? Or the moment Tracy realizes who she's really sharing a bed with? I really appreciate you guys joining me for this breakdown. Soap spoilers are one thing, but really digging into the why behind the characters, that's where the fun is. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next update, because with Cassie's explosive exit coming up, things are about to get very loud in Weatherfield. Hit that like button if you think Tyrone is being a massive idiot, and I'll see you in the comments section to talk more about that vulgar Ross Wilkes. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next deep dive. One last thing to think about: the ticking time bomb of technology. Gary's phone is in the hands of the police, And Kit is trying to get his hands on the data. Think about how much we have on our phones. Messages, locations, photos. If Ross has a digital trail, it's only a matter of time before it's found. The street might be blinded by his charm, but the data doesn't lie. That's the real mystery for me. Is Ross smart enough to have covered his tracks online, or is he about to be undone by a simple text message? I'm telling you, the July spoilers are just the tip of the iceberg. We're heading towards a summer that's going to change Coronation Street forever. Legacy characters are leaving, new villains are moving in, and the truth is becoming the most dangerous thing on the cobbles. Are you ready for it? I know I am. See you in the next video. Do you think Tracy Barlow is just making another romantic mistake? Or has she finally let a monster into her home who's going to destroy everything she's built? Look, I know what you're thinking. Tracy is usually the one doing the manipulating. She's the one who killed Charlie Stubbs in cold blood after all. But something about this new guy, Ross Wilkes, feels totally different. And let me tell you, the spoilers coming out for July 2026 are honestly skin-crawling. We've just had confirmation that this man, who the headlines are calling a vulgar sex offender, is officially moving in on Tracy. But it's not just about a bad romance. It's about why nobody in Weatherfield can see what's happening right under their noses. Are you as worried as I am? Or do you think Tracy can handle herself? Well, let's think about how we got here. Ross didn't just wander onto the cobbles. He showed up as Tyrone's long-lost dad. That's the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card in a place like Weatherfield. People want to believe in family. They want that happy ending for Tyrone. But the reality is way darker. Ross is actually a predator who has been hiding in plain sight. And the crazy thing is, the one person who knows the truth is being treated like a villain. I'm talking about Cassie Plummer. She realized Ross was the man who exploited her when she was just a teenager. Can you imagine that? Your abuser shows up, pretends to be your son's hero, and then starts blackmailing you. It's a literal nightmare. The funny thing is, while we're all screaming at the TV, the characters are just falling for it. Spoilers confirm that Ross has now spent the night at #1 with Tracy. This isn't just a quick hookup. It's a strategic move. Ross is planting himself in the most famous house on the street. Why did Tracy let this happen? Honestly, if you look at her history, it makes sense. Tracy has always defined herself by her power over bad lads. She thinks she's the smartest person in the room. She probably thinks she's the one playing him. But Ross isn't like the guys she's dealt with before. He isn't loud or aggressive like Charlie Stubbs. He's subtle. He's grooming the whole community, not just Tracy. That I've been thinking a lot about the psychology behind this. Why is Tyrone so blinded? Well, he's spent his whole life wanting a proper family. He's so desperate for a father figure that he's willing to ignore his own mother's visceral terror. It's heartbreaking.